talking about different layers of consciousness. And we said that the brain is basically the machinery for the soul. The neshama rests in the brain. The person's neshama rests in his brain. Obviously there's different parts of the soul. Some of the higher parts of the soul. Neshama rests in the brain. Chabad. Chabad. What's Chabad? Chokhmah bin Adat. Chokhmah bin Adat rests in a person's brain. Chokhmah bin Adat rests in a person's brain. The lowest part is the dot. Dot gives you the ability to think. Every time we're thinking on daily things, mundane things, that's the dot's working. The dot's working. And we said Adam Rishon ate from the tree of. It's a dot, right? It's a dot. The trouble with the dot is the dot by itself is dangerous. Why? It can go either way. Because it's a dot. Hashem gave us dot. The purpose of the dot is the filter. That's why the bracha Havdalah is really the bracha on dot. Right? That's why Havdalah is in the bracha of Chonin Adat. Atach Chonan is in the bracha of dot. Why? Because the dot gives us the ability to differentiate between good and bad. Dot is the ability to differentiate. Dot is the ability to differentiate. Unfortunately, our powers of differentiating since he ate the fruit got messed up. Right? So dot got messed up. Why? Because a person, we have our own base instincts which are influencing ourselves. The Torah says by a judge, Lo tikach shochad, ki ha-shochad yaver enei chachamim. Because don't take bribes, because bribery will blind the eyes of the wise. So you see over here, even the chokhmah can be blinded by bribery. The eyes of the chachamim. So we see that bribery. What's bribery? So all the pleasures in the world are briberies. Person has a little bit of pleasure here, pleasure there. The pleasure can blind the person, and the pleasure can bias the person. The pleasure can upset their dot. The ability to think properly is upset by the pleasures. So a person says, big deal, so I'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's like a person on a diet, right? A person says he's a smoker, right? So one more cigarette, what's the problem? One more cigarette. So he's blinded by that cigarette. Person's on a diet, he's not allowed to have chocolate cake. So, a little bit of peace, what's so small, what's the problem? It's not going to hurt me, it's not going to do anything, right? So we all like that. That's how the swing. We are bribed. We get bribed by everything we do. Everything we do bribes us. I saw beautiful, last week's parasha, an amazing Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Orach Chaim HaKadosh, and they made this into a song. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says an amazing thing. He says, because the Torah says, because you did not serve me be simcha betuv levav. You didn't serve me with joy and goodness of your heart. So he says an amazing thing. He has a few commentaries over there, a few explanations. It's very lengthy. Orach Chaim HaKadosh is very, very lengthy. It's a very hard commentary. We cannot just... The depth is depth, but it's also length. It just keeps on going on. Just doesn't, he's like a fountain. It just keeps on talking. So Orach Chaim HaKadosh, he says over there, if people would taste the sweetness of the Torah, it would drive them mad with sweetness. It would never be able to leave it. If you taste the sweetness of the Torah, you would he said tishtagea. He said you'll go crazy. With the sweetness of the Torah, you won't be able to think of anything else in your life. You'll be just drawn to the Torah. The sweetness of the Torah is going to bribe you. In other words, that's what it says. It says tachal leshonech. It's dvash v'chalav tachal leshonech. Right. The Torah should be like dvash v'chalav tachal leshonech. That's why we have on Shavuot we have ice cream, because the Torah is compared to dvash v'chalav, honey and milk, sweet milk, which is honey, ice cream. So he says, if you imagine, so it works both ways. If you are into spiritual things, you're bribed by the spiritual things. You cover your senses. You're attracted to it. That's the way a person should be. On the other hand, a person can be bribed the other way. Most people bribe the other way. I don't know what they're bribed by, because a lot of the stuff they're bribed by, I don't see ball games and all that stuff. It doesn't attract me at all. Just it's a what is it? I don't know what I don't know. It's a craziness, mischievous. Because you're attracted to something which doesn't make sense. A grown man running after a ball or hitting a ball, it doesn't make sense. If you're doing it yourself, it's exercise. Okay, I can understand. But if you're watching someone else for 2 hours and standing in line and for a ticket and you're for a pay and you're going crazy and you're sitting in the cold, freezing weather and you're watching the guy hit the ball. So he's a 30-year-old man hitting a ball. Mazel tov. But what kind of bribery is that? I don't know. It's a mishuga. That's why I call it mishuga. Say mishuga. Mishuga. You got to be mishuga a little bit. I don't know, but the whole side is mishuga. The whole side is mishuga, so therefore, a person becomes mishuga as well. I'm saying if you're playing yourself, there's exercise. It's very good for you. It's good for your body. But if you're watching it and you're into the spirit, and you're like, you see the ball game yesterday? Wow, the guy scored it. But we're all bribed by these things. I'm saying, I'm just giving an example. We're all bribed by different things. Everyone has their little bit of shochad. We take a little bit of shochad here. Some people are attracted to money. Some people are attracted to other things and desires and other things. They bribe us. So the dot is the dot is meant to filter this thing out, but the dot is not effective because the dot also is bribed. The dot's bribed. So the idea of morality today is relative. We decide, it's not so bad, it's not so good. Let's take a vote. That's how morality works today. There's no absolute. There's no absolute. So they asked the Rambam, how come the Hashem didn't want Adam to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Let him eat from the dot. Eat from the dot. It's good for him. You say, yeah, but Adam was on a higher level, Rambam says. He knew emet. He knew truth. You give him dot now, he's able to filter out the truth. He can be able to rationalize. The power of dot is the ability to rationalize. Wow. Ability to rationalize. But the brain, the way we function is through our dot. Everything we see goes through our dot. In normal situation, we all go through our dot. Our dot decides as the arbiter. The brain arbiter. Is it good? Is it bad? Arbiter. And on that dot, we're going to see is the Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Tov on that dot. But we're going to see. Okay, so that's what we said. We said the brain is the tool of the neshama. So neshama is the energy that goes into the brain. The brain is the mechanism. The Rabbi Salanta, I just put it out today on Facebook. Rabbi Salanta says an amazing idea. He says there's a thing called self. Self, who you are. The Kabbalists talk about that as a levush of the neshama. You are not the neshama. You are not your neshama. Anything, huh? People think neshama, that's you. No. The neshama powers you. Who are you then? You are the levush of the neshama. We are the garments of our souls. And you get the soul that you fix. The soul that you use, the soul that's yours. That's your soul. But you're the garment of the soul. And that's what the Gemara says all the time. It says, you begadecha levenim. Your garments should always be clean. Which garments we're talking about? I'm not talking about physical garments. Physical garments, obviously, your garments should be clean as well, obviously. People spend fortunes on dry cleaners. Look how many dry cleaners there are in town. Amazing. It's a good business. Dry cleaners, people want to have clean garments. The whole world wants clean garments today. Baruch Hashem. It's a good thing. But what about the spiritual garment? And that's the levush of neshama, which is takes the form. The neshama takes the form of the levush. Hard to understand, right? The neshama fits into the levush. Levush is a great form, big form. It's amazing. You see small people; they have big levush. They have big neshama. So obviously, levush is bigger. So the body is small, but the levush of the neshama might be massive. We don't know. So it's interesting. So you see these great rabbis who are tiny. Moshe Feinstein was tiny. Chavetz Chaim was tiny. The big rabbis are tiny, and yet the neshama is massive. So you can't just go by the physical form. Sometimes the physical form is massive, but the neshama is tiny. Sometimes Al tistakel b'kankan. Who says? Rabbi David says in Pirkei Avot. Al tistakel b'kankan. Don't look at the packaging. Ela ma sheyesh betocho. Look what's inside the packaging. We have to look inside the packaging and look deeper. And the trouble is the dot is not equipped to look deeper. That's the trouble. So a person's going to get to the higher level of behind dot, as we said, is the bina. The bina is behind the dot, and the bina is the subconscious. So we said the dot is a thing that functions all the time. The bina is the subconscious, and the bina feeds the dot subconsciously. A person's thinking behind the scenes. Today, all the modern psychologists after Freud, they're all trying to dig into the subconscious. They're trying to dig into the reasons why the person's thinking like this. They're trying to dig into the subconscious, and I don't think they're very successful at it. Because they bring out all the garbage from the subconscious instead of bringing out the good stuff in the subconscious. So not really reaching the bina. I don't think they're reaching that bina. They're reaching more like a kilipa. There's like a husk around everything. So they're reaching the husk, but they're not reaching inside it. So if we could get through that, that's what meditation does. Meditation gets you through that, all that razzmatazz inside the bina, the subconscious. Because a lot of the garbage going on in the subconscious. Get you through, the meditation gets you through the subconscious, through the bina to the chachma. If you can get to the chachma, you'll get to the emet. If you get to
what's the chachma?
Chachma is the highest level.
What if dot corresponds, I guess, to the mind or conscious mind, and bina is the subconscious?
Right.
What does chachma?
So chachma is behind the subconscious. Chachma is behind the subconscious. There's an underlay behind the subconscious, which is very hard to get through because modern psychology doesn't even talk about the behind the subconscious. It's like consciousness and subconscious. It's both behind the subconsciousness. There's another layer behind it, that's what the Kabbalists talk about. And that's what meditation's all about. Meditation is trying to get through the bina into the chachma. So today we know that there's such a thing as expanded consciousness, which the Kabbalists talk muchin de gadlut. There's mochin the katnut, there's mochin of an adult, there's mochin of a child. When the person gets more, as the person grows up, they get more mochin. They get more spiritual energies to develop their brains. Mochin means brains, literally. But to develop them there themselves. So a child has a very little ability to understand. The more you grow up, the more ability you get. That's the mochin, that's spiritual abilities the person gets in the head, in the brain. So dat is knowing, a continuous process of self-realization. Reality, getting in touch with reality. Experiential self-awareness. So by interacting with the world, that's dat. Behind the dat is the bina, which is understanding, which influences and molds the conscious mind. Through the subconscious, it molds the conscious mind. Has two parts: the lower part, or the outer part, which involves the automatic brain pattern. Amazing things. The body can handle itself automatically. Many things happen automatically. Your whole body is functioning automatically, whether you think or not. Your heart is beating, whether you think or not. You're breathing, whether you think or not. You don't think about it. All the automatic functions are subconscious, are bina. Everything is going automatically. Amazing. The whole body can work automatically. You got a guy in a coma, seems to be dead, but he's awake. He's alert. He's alive. Right? Everything's working automatically. His whole body's functioning automatically. So that's the lower part of the brain, lower brain stem. And that's your autopilot. And then you had a higher part. The higher part is the imagery that prods the dot. And beyond that is the inner mind. You say, what is Chokhmah? Chokhmah is the inner mind, which is a state of pure consciousness that is part of the soul self without the restrictions of physical brain. Now this is interesting because when a person dies, they don't have a physical brain. What do they take with them? And the answer is their self. Your self is your garment of your neshama. Your self is your... So the Rabbi Salanta says, that when a person's awake, this is my explanation of Rabbi Salanta. When a person's awake at night, what's happening? Can't sleep. What's going on? You're thinking. The thoughts are going on. Thoughts are going on. The person's thinking about what I did in the past, what I did in the future, what I'm planning to do, what I need, what I don't need, what my troubles, my worries. That's you. That's yourself. That's yourself. That's who you are. When you're all alone, there's no one around you triggering you. That's who you are. Your thoughts are you. Most people today don't want when you're left alone with their thoughts. In fact, the worst punishment today is solitary confinement. Why? They want to lock you up with your thoughts, you'll go mad. You'll drive yourself mad. People go mad themselves. They'll drive themselves mad. Why? Because no one nags you more than yourself. Who's the biggest nagger in the world? And some people have bigger naggers inside, nudniks inside you.
So the biggest punishment for Jews should be to lock them up with their mothers.
I didn't say that. You said that. I didn't say that.
No, I'm just saying that.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it. I don't mention my mother, Baruch Hashem, Eshet Chayil. I wouldn't mind locked up with my mother. Honestly, I wouldn't mind. I wish I was there right now looking after her, honestly. I wish I could be there looking after her when she needs it. It's a chaval today. People live thousands of miles away from their parents. It's so hard. It's really hard. So when they need you, you have to. It's hard. It's very hard. It's very tragic. Anyway. But you can make jokes about mothers, whatever. But mothers want they want the best for us. They want the best for us. But you're bigger nudnik than your mother is you.
Don't make jokes about them
either. Right. You are the biggest nudnik for yourself. That's good. It's good. It should be good. If it's a good conscience, it should be a very good thing. If it's a bad thing, it's not good. So it depends. It's nudniks coming from both sides, which you're going to talk about. The Yitzhak, Yitzhak Tov. Anyway, but I'm saying the awareness of what's going on is you. You're aware of what's going on. You're in your bed lying down, you can't sleep. That's you. Now can you imagine now, a person's now dead. But they're not dead because that self lives on. Judaism says it's not just your neshama, it's yourself, it's you. You live on. If you're tzaddik, you live on. If you're Rasha, you live on also in a different place, worse place. But the fact is that maybe you live on, your awareness lives on. If your awareness is good, it's Gan Eden. If your awareness is bad, it's hell. That's hell. Hell is where the awareness is. I wish I did more worse things. I wish I did. Yeah. Look at the stories in the Gemara on Gittin, right? The Gemara talks about they brought who his uncle wants to convert, and he brings back the souls of all the Risha'im. Bilam Harasha. Who is successful in the next world? The Jews. So what should I do? He says, kill them. So why do you kill them? You're saying they're the best in the next world. He didn't change. He was as jealous as he was in this world. The jealousy remains on, so he can't stand it. Can you imagine eating him up? That's his hell. He's in hell while he's seeing the Jews on top. And he raises up Titus, his uncle. He says, Titus, who's up there? He said, the Jews. He says, what shall I do? Kill them, destroy them. What? He says, no one changes. You don't change. The self does not change in the next world. That's why Teshuvah is so important in this world. Why are we doing Teshuvah in this world? Because in the next world you can't change. Because there's an amazing midrash in Kohelet. I saw today, first chapter of Kelet, I think it's Bassous 15 in Kelet. The Midrash says two thieves, they're both robbers, Ganavim, Jews, run a Ganavim. The Gemara says, things which are bent you cannot fix. What's the example? Two thieves. One thief, he got a little bit sick. He says, wow, he says, maybe I'll die, I'm going to stop being a thief. I'm going to do teshuvah. The other thief continues. They both die, one goes up, one goes down. So the guy went down and says, it's not fair. Hashem, your favoritism. Why do you get that guy? How come? He was also a thief. So yeah, he was a thief, but he did teshuvah and he changed. The power of teshuvah is amazing. So now's the time before Rosh Hashanah. Now's the time to do teshuvah, because a person doesn't realize that whatever our mind is, we can't change it. Once a person dies, that's it. They're fixed. Everything's fixed in stone. That's it. The person thinks in a bad way. I wish I could rob this guy, cheat this guy, steal this guy. I want to do this. I want to do that. All the bad thoughts are there all the time. They don't stop, because the self is there. The self doesn't go away. The self is part of you. That's you. You live on. Your self lives on. Your neshama is not involved. Your neshama is the spiritual energy you get to make everything work. So it's a very important idea. That the dot of you and the chokhmah and the bina, and they live on. The spiritual quantities behind them live on. So your chabad lives on. Your chabad lives on. So it's amazing that so you have to go through. So he said that the dot is your thoughts. That's your awareness. The bina is the subconscious, and the inner mind is the chokmah. We have to try and get to the inner mind. We said through meditation. Okay, let's move on a little bit. So normal consciousness, chokmah interacts through bina to influence the dot, and the dot interacts with the outside world. In meditative consciousness, the dot goes right through the bina into the chokmah, right? It attaches itself to the chokmah, which that's amazing, because then you're talking to your soul. If you can talk to your soul, you're a Ruach HaKodesh already. That's the level of Ruach HaKodesh. Person's got to reach through the subconscious into the next high level. That's the idea of Ruach HaKodesh. So amazing Gemara today. Amazing Gemara. The Gemara is in Sanhedrin, in Arba Mitot. It talks about Oven Yidoni. Oven Yidoni, it talks about the Mishnah over there, talking about Oven Yidoni, different ways of raising up evil spirits. Okay, you can raise up an evil spirit, you can raise up a dead person, talk to their soul through the joints of the person's body. The person can't imagine, the person is speaking to you through your joints. Different joints. So different joints, you can ask, these guys were experts at raising dead people through joints, through the joints of their body. I guess they didn't want them to take a possession of the whole body, they would talk through the joints. So Rabbi Kiva says, he's crying, Rabbi Kiva's crying, he says, these guys would fast and pray and they would get this evil spirit to rest on them. We fast and pray, we don't get a Holy Spirit. We're not prophets today, we can't be prophets. Imagine they're fasting and they're praying and they want to be prophets, and then there's no prophecy today. For the evil there is, but good. So that was, imagine Rabbi Kiva's... Huh?
The opposite of Ruach HaKodesh was Ruach HaTumah.
Yeah. But it's interesting because there's more Ruach HaTumah than Ruach HaKodesh. It says when the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah was removed, prophecy was removed. When the Anshe Knesset Gdola, it says, it's also Gemara in Sanhedrin, when they got rid of Avodah Zarah also. They got rid of the Yetzer Hara for, it says it came out like a lion. It was like a lion, and they didn't know what to do with it. The Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah came out like a lion from the Holy of Holies, from all places. Imagine, think about it. In the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy of Holies, I think a big lion comes out. They didn't know what to do with it. So the rabbis told him to put him in a lead container and put a lead lid over it. Because it was screaming and shouting. They said, Hashem's going to have mercy on this thing. He's not going to let us kill it. Yes, for Avodah Zarah. They put it in a lead container, they put a lead container, and that's it, died. Whatever that means. Obviously, some deeper explanation. You can't just kill a Yetzer Hara. It's not like it looked like a lion for them. Boy, like lion, it means it was fierce and wild, because the Yetzer Hara for idolatry was wild in those days. That's what it means, it looked like a lion. That wasn't really a lion. But I'm just saying that, so you see that today, there's all sorts of tumah around the world, and the Kedusha is much less. But you have to understand, the balance in those days was even worse. You had prophecy, but you had Avodah Zarah. How many Jews were worshipping idolatry? The temple was being destroyed again. It lasted another 480 years, but it could have lasted another 50 years with all the idolatry around. So they destroyed this Yetzer Hara for idolatry, and they wanted to destroy the Yetzer Hara for immorality. And what they did is they locked it up. I can't remember what it came out as. It also say it came out as some kind of animal. And they locked it up, and they found that even the chickens stopped laying eggs. So they said, we need this. We can't destroy it completely. We'll weaken it. We'll weaken it to the point where a person won't desire incest. Imagine before that, there was such a desire for incest. People just couldn't resist it. So after they weakened the Yetzer Hara, there's no incense. I don't know how much incense, but the Yetzer Hara for interest is much less. But if you imagine what the Yetzer Hara incense was in those days, they weakened it. But we need this Yetzer Hara, otherwise the world's going to stop. Anyway, so what is this Yetzer? Let's talk about the Yetzer. So the Arizal talks about there's two opposing forces, which develops through the dichotomy of the soul as it interacts with the physical, right? So basically the soul is looking for the spiritual. So a person looking for spiritual, you know your soul's in control. So look, I want more, I want more, I want more spiritual. Your soul is big, your soul is thirsty. The neshama is thirsty. Hoi kol tzameh lech l'mayim. Yeshayahu Navi says all thirsty people should go to the water. What thirsty people are talking about? It's talking about spiritual thirstiness. Go to the water, Torah. Go to the Torah. Hoi kol tzameh lech l'mayim. All thirsty people should go to the water. So some people are thirsty, some people's souls are thirsty, and that's fantastic. There's nothing better than a soul which is thirsty. You know you're on a high level. You know you're thirsty for the right things. That's people want to sit and learn Torah, and people want to just come and do mitzvot because their soul is thirsty. Hashem, my soul is thirsty. David Basous says, "Kayal tarog alafei k'mayim, kinafshi tarog elecha Elokim." Just like a thirsty deer runs for the water, he says, so my soul thirsts for you, God. He says, my soul thirsts for you, Hashem. My soul is thirsty for you, Hashem. Very high level. Very, very high level. That's the ideal level of person should thirst for Hashem, should thirst for spirituality. I want to be close to Hashem. I want to be close to you. But if you don't have a taste for it, you'll never get there. A person has to have a taste. David Basous says, Ta'amur rikitov Hashem. Taste and see how beautiful Hashem is. A person's got to taste the spirituality. Yom Kippur is a good taste. If you enjoy Yom Kippur, you're on good side. If you enjoy sitting over there fasting and praying all day, it means you're on a very high level. Because the vast majority of Jews today, I want to say, okay, they don't really enjoy it. You're not meant to enjoy it, because the Zohar says, afflict yourself. But the affliction itself is the beauty. That's the beauty. That's the thing is, one day a year I can switch off the physicality. I don't worry about my food. I don't worry about my clothing. I don't worry about this. I can switch off all the physicality. I just focus on Hashem and Teshuvah, repairing myself and fixing my neshama. That's a very high spiritual level. And that's what the soul wants. But the body wants the opposite. The body, well, number one, we said, the answer we said is the drive for self-preservation. And the self-preservation can be taken to higher levels. So if it starts off as self-preservation. I got to eat to stay alive. Hey, 1 second, this food tastes good. So I'll eat a bit more, a bit extra to stay alive. And that's the hardest Rambam. Rambam says to eat a quarter less than what you need. Now, how do you know how much you need? How much you know what you don't need? But he was a doctor, so I guess he went by, I don't know, by calories, I don't know what he went by. I mean, but how do you know how much you need? So the answer is, a person can live for a week without eating. 3 days without drinking, and average.
Was the Rambam's advice in that case medical, or was it spiritual?
Both. He was a doctor and a rabbi.
No, but in that specific
he makes
case.
it part of halakha. So it's part of halakha, which becomes a spiritual halakha. Once it's halakha, it's spiritual already. It gets out, it's part of Torah already. He made the physicality part of Torah. He raised it to this level of Torah. Being healthy is part of Torah. Why? He says because you cannot be sick and be spiritual. Which means if you're you're in bed all day in the hospital and you can't learn Torah and you can't do mitzvot, how spiritual can you be? You can be spiritual, very spiritual in your mind, but you can't be spiritual physically, you can't do anything. So it's important to be healthy for that reason, for that purpose of serving Hashem. So it's a very important level. And we learn you guard yourself very carefully. So it says, one of the few places says very. A few mitzvot says very. Me'od, very carefully. But it's a very hard, because we're pulled in both directions. So the Yetzer Tov says don't eat too much. But you don't know if that Yetzer Tov is really Yetzer Tov, it's Yetzer Ra. So the Yetzer tells you, it looks like, it said, I had a rabbi in yeshiva, very good, Rabbi Abraham David, he did my wedding. I owe him a big debt, this guy. Rabbi Abraham David, he used to be a mashkiach in our yeshiva, in Avat Shalom. He said, you think that the Yetzer Ra comes to you and he's going to be dressed in shorts and he's going to be dressed like a tramp of the street. No, he comes to you with long white beard. He says, do this and do this. You're trying to break your back. You say, I can't be religious. It's too hard. That's the Yetzer Ra of righteousness. And then that's what the Shlomo Melech says. Al ti tzadik harbeh. Don't be too righteous. Don't be too tight. There's a thing called too righteous. If you go beyond the requirements of the law, halakha, it's enough what the Torah forbids. This Rambam's middle of the road. It says, it's enough. The Torah forbids you enough. And you're going to add to it now. You want to be a Nazir. You want to be this. You want to be Parush. You want to be extra. This and that extra. It's enough of the Torah. Don't be al ti tzadik harbeh. Don't be too righteous because it break your back. That's the Yetzer Hara of Silkut. It looks like a tzaddik. Do more, do more. But he's trying to kill you. Trying to stop you doing anything. And you see people like that. They become extreme. They say, I can't be Jewish. It's impossible. I can't keep all these laws. It's too much for me. On the other hand, you have the Yetzer Hara, which is a real Yetzer Hara. He looks like a Yetzer Hara and acts like a Yetzer Hara and he still wins. People know he's a Yetzer Hara, he still wins. Come with me, I'll show you a good time. Yeah, good time, like heck, a bad time, doing good, doing bad things. Yeah, good time. He calls it a good time. The Yetzer Hara calls it a good time. Imagine today, the word good has been lost. The meaning of the word good is lost. It's an ethical term. What were you doing last night? I had a good time. What are you doing? All sorts of bad things. But I had a good time. It's not a good time, it's a bad time. We have to change the language. The language of Hollywood is becoming, it's moving into love does not mean love. Love means lust. Good does not mean good. Good means enjoyment. That's what good means. So Hashem says, Arizal said, we said, the soul is the higher function. A person wants spirituality. A person wants Hashem. That's the soul. Whereas the body is, number one is, I want to survive. Okay, very good. You want to survive? Mitzvah. You're doing a very big mitzvah, you're a tzaddik, a hasid, you want to survive, you want to stay alive to serve Hashem, it's a very big mitzvah. V'chai bahem, v'lo yamut bahem, the Gemara says, and that's why we break Yom Kippur for the sake of life, you break Shabbat for the sake of life. It's very important to stay alive. So for the three cardinal sins, it's very important to stay alive. It's a mitzvah, a tremendous mitzvah to stay alive. And that's why I think there's a mitzvah to give honor to elderly people. Why do you have such a mitzvah? They stayed alive through all their troubles in life, through all the sicknesses, they're still alive. Amazing, we have guys here just the will to live. You have to respect that. You have to stand up for them. You have to give them honor because they're doing that mitzvah. It's very, very important mitzvah. But when the ego comes along and says, you know what, it's not just enough to stay alive. You have to enjoy life as well. So let's enjoy yourself. Forget about that. There's problems in the world. That guy can look after himself. This guy can look after himself. This guy. What about you? Enjoy life. Go for a cruise. Go for honey this. Go for that. Go for here. Go there. Enjoy yourself. Okay. Everyone needs to relax. But how much can I shut out the world and the problems around me and just think about myself? And that's the question. And that's the balance in life between ego and narcissism, self-preservation and narcissism, where it becomes too much. And that's the fight. That's where the Yetzer Hara comes from. The Yetzer Hara comes from the idea of self-preservation, which is that a child has. That's why Yetzer Hara, the child is much more. There's no Yetzer Hara Tov. Child doesn't look beyond himself. He looks at self-preservation, self-preservation, and the parent's job is to teach a child there's something outside you. But the parent himself has got to know that. There's something outside me. I've got to help other people. I've got to work for other people. I've got to do for this. So the first time we said the noun Yetzer applies in the Torah. Now Hashem created man. That's a verb. We said Vayitzer et Adam. Vayitzer is a two yuds. So the Gemara says two yuds. Here you have Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Hara Tov. Two yuds, Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov. But there's a noun in the Torah. So Arizal asked the question, why is the word Yetzer, the word Yetzer, to create? Because he says, don't think your Yetzer Hara is standing still. The Yetzer Hara is being created every second. It's changing every second. Our Yetzer Haras and Yetzer Hara Tovs are changing every second, depending on what we're doing. If you're doing good things, Yetzer Hara Tov is increasing and expanding, and Yetzer Hara... Well, Tesla says once so fast, not so fast. When you do good, doesn't mean Yetzer Hara is disappearing. So sometimes he says when you do good, you're just pushing the spring. You're pushing it out of the way, but when you push a spring, you know what happens? The energy in the spring gets even bigger. It's ready for the pushback. You just leave it 1 second. So you see people, like, very spiritual, it's flash in the pan, spirituality, and then all of a sudden the next day, gone. Yom Kippur, day after Yom Kippur, back to things as normal or even worse than normal. Like 1 day is enough, The next day is, a rebound. It's a rebound. That's a rebound of the Yetzer Hara. Why? Because the Yetzer Hara is not being changed. The Yetzer Hara is just being pushed and being compressed. Which Freud was very much against. Don't compress the Yetzer Hara. It can lead you to psychosis. It can lead you to craziness by pushing a Yetzer Hara. He's right. It can lead to worse things because the Yetzer Hara is going to rebound. So what do you have to do? You have to fix that Yetzer Hara. Barati Yetzer Hara, Hashem says, I created the Yetzer Hara, Barati Torah Tavlin. You need the Torah as a spice to make the Yetzer Hara edible because we need the Yetzer Hara. The Rabbi said we couldn't destroy the Yetzer Hara of immorality. Why? The world's going to end. We need that Yetzer Hara. But what do you do with the Yetzer Hara? The answer is you've got to use it for good. You've got to change the Yetzer Hara into a Yetzer Hara for good. So the main drive of a person is Yetzer Hara. How do you use the Yetzer Hara to learn more Torah? How do you drive the Yetzer Hara to make you wake up early in the morning? And the answer is, Kinat Sofrim Tarbe Chochma. If this guy can do it, I want to be better than him. If the Chavetz Chaim could do it at the age of 86, and he'd say, the old man, the Yitzhak says, "Oh man, go back to sleep. It's freezing outside. You're Radin in Poland in the winter. Come on, give me a break. You're an old man. Stay in bed. It's warm in bed. You're gonna go outside. You're gonna kill yourself in the." He said, "Listen." He says, "You're older than me, and you're up already." That's the way you gotta fight Yitzhak. That's it. Take the example. The Yitzhak says, doesn't let go. Says, "You don't let go of me. I don't let go either. You're obstinate. I'm obstinate as well. You're up early. I'm up earlier. I'm up earlier. The other guy can do it. If Spencer can do it, I can do it. How do I? I can't do it. I can't keep up with you. If he can do it, I can do it. That's it. That's the kinat sofrim tarbei chokhmah. Jealousy of people who are better than you. Jealousy of people who can do it. So if the Chavetz Chaim can learn 24 hours a day, why can't I learn 5, 6, whatever? Halavai. So keeping up. It's the Yetzirah. It's allowed. That Yetzirah is allowed. That Yetzirah of jealousy of good people, that's allowed. If this guy can be a Bikuch Harliyim and he can do so much chesed, why can't I do it? We all have our different drives, we all have different propensities, we all have different Yetzirah. But we have this secret. The secret is you can use your Yetzirah to motivate yourself for good. By keeping up with someone, just by sticking around good people and saying, I want to be like him, I want to be better, I want to be better than this guy, I want to beat this guy. I want to be closer to God than him. Can you imagine a person wakes up and says, the guy was my neighbor and we went to school together and everything. We go to Shemayim and he's higher than me. Can you imagine what kind of burning sensation it says that's going to burn the person up the rest of his immortal life? It's a horrible sensation. Can you imagine? You're in the class with this guy, you're in school with the guy, you're in this with the guy, and all of a sudden you see the guy, he's up there, you're down here. What happened? I thought I was doing well. I was learning Torah. But he did something extraordinary. So that is something which would motivate us. It's hard. We have to motivate ourselves. Using the Yitzhak, we can motivate ourselves for good. A person's going to try and motivate themselves for good. So Hashem says, "Naaseh Adam b'tzalmenu." Let us make man b'tzalmenu. It's a very strange pasuk. In our image, Hashem says. So the famous Rabbi Twersky says, "Let us make man. Man himself is a partner in the creation. We ourselves take part in the creation of ourselves." And that's what the Yetzer means. The Yetzer means we ourselves are creating our Yetzer. We are forming our Yetzer. We're taking the Yetzer Hashem gave us and making it into something else. So Hashem said, "I give you a little Yetzer. Why do you make it so big?" Because that's part of the formation of Yetzer. The Yetzer is a formation. Or you can take a big, Hashem said, "I give you a big Yetzer. Look, Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish was a bandit. You can't get worse than that. He was a bandit. He was the head of the bandits, the toughest guy in the world, the biggest birion, the biggest bandit you could find, head of the mafia. He could ready to kill and steal and anything you want. All of a sudden becomes a Baal Teshuvah. Hashem says, "Wow, such a big Yitzhak. How do you fix that? Reish Lakish, how do you do that?"
Well, because he was motivated by the Yetzer Hara.
Right, he knew how to motivate himself.
No, it wasn't him. It was his,
Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah, but still, he was hooked by that. And it wasn't easy. Even then, come on, he could find other people. He could find other things. He wanted to be hooked by the Yitzhak. He wanted to be hooked to do good. He changed completely. He accepted upon himself the yoke of heaven.
Yeah, because he knew what he was getting.
I don't think so. I think that's just, you got to be a deeper person than that. I think he was a deeper person than that. It wasn't just going after his eyes.
Well, as it turns out, he was.
He was a much deeper person. That's what I'm saying. That's why you have to think deeper, because he was a very deep individual. He wasn't a simple robber and thief. There was a deepness to him. They saw goodness when he could sense goodness, and he saw Rabbi Yochanan. And he says, not just the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan, he saw the goodness in Rabbi Yochanan. He says, wow, I want to be like him. I want to be as close to him as I can get. I see this guy's a tzaddik. He saw the tzaddik. He said, good.
Why did Rabbi Yochanan have to tempt him with?
Because he says, you want to be close to me? I'll give you I'll be your relative. I'll make you my relative. Wow.
He didn't think it was a matter.
That's a very big mitzvah, by the way. Of clinging to God. How do you cling to God? You do a business with a Talmid Chacham. You marry the daughter of a Talmid Chacham. He says, yeah, you want to cling to me? Cling to God? Yeah, cling. I'll give you a vehicle to cling to God. So when is Yetzer a noun? Yetzer machshavot libor rak olayom. The product of the thoughts of his heart was only evil the whole day in chapter 6 of Bereshit. So Yetzer implies the product of your thought. Yetzer machshavot libor. Product of the thoughts. So both Yetzer develop through thought and focus. Our thoughts develop our Yetzer. So we think our thoughts come from the Yetzer. It's a vicious cycle. It comes from the Yetzer, and then we can develop it more, and it becomes a bigger Yetzer. Because the more a person thinks about certain things, the bigger the desire gets. So the less you think about it, the less the desire gets. That's one of the important thing is to change. You see a kid, all of a sudden the kid's crying. Wah, wah, wah. What's the best way of handling a kid who's crying? Change their focus. Divert their attention. We're going somewhere tomorrow. Huh? Going somewhere? Have you seen outside? Look out the window, there's a police car. All of a sudden they're in. Forget about the crying, they're in. Divert their attention. That's the biggest trick. The biggest technique is divert attention. Person has a Yetzirah, he's fixated on there's an amazing Gemara, this halakha in Shulchan Aruch. So a man says, I have to have that woman, otherwise I'm going to die. I have to have that woman, I'm going to die. He's obsessed by that woman, I have to have the woman. The Gemara says, let him die. Wait, why can't I have the woman? What is it? It's through the right eye. It's the right eye. Okay, but I'll die of death? To the point of death? Yeah, die. You can't control yourself. Drop dead. What is the Gemara telling you? It's not that Has v'Shalom, the guy should drop dead. It's telling you, you're not going to get away with this. Your obsession is your obsession. You have to change your obsession. You're not going to get away with it. Just because a person is obsessed doesn't mean he gets what he wants. And that is the technique a person uses against the Yetzirah. You're obsessed, divert your attention. How do you divert your attention? So the Gemara says three things. Say Kriyat Shema. First it says, drag him into the Beit Midrash, which is what we're all here for. We're dragging him into the Beit Midrash. Drag that disgusting person to the Beit Midrash. That's what it says. It says, drag the Menuval. It calls it Menuval. This is a disgusting, the Yetzirahs, they're disgusting. Yeah, drag him into the Beit Midrash. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, say Kriyat Shema. If it doesn't work, think of the day of one's death. They're burying you. Wait. Very powerful medicine. But that's the Yetzirah. The Yetzirah, we adapt the Yetzirah. So the more we focus on things, the Yetzirah, this Yetzirah. And that's where media comes in. The person focuses on it, then we have, I want to see more, Hey, before you know, you're hell into hell. You fall into hell. And the Yetzirah gets bigger. It doesn't get smaller. The Gemara says, what does it say? It says, a person has a small organ. The more it's used, the more he wants. The more the desire gets, but it's a small organ. But the more it's used, the more its progress is made. The more it desires, So that was David HaMelech's mistake. He said, Hashem. He said, Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzhak, Elokei Yaakov. God of Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. Where's me? Where's Elokei David? Hashem says, don't worry. They were tested. They passed their test. You weren't tested. He said, test me. Hashem says, don't worry. Okay, I'll test you. You want a test? I'll give you a test. And he told him what his test was. Your test will be immorality. So David said, no problem, I got 18 wives. I'll go busy myself with the wives. So the Gemara says, you've got this halakha. The more you busy yourself with this, the worse it gets. So he busied himself and he got worse. He wanted more and desired more. So that's the problem. That's the Yetzirah. The Yetzirah is, the more you focus on something, the more obsessed you are with something, the worse it is. So we are making the Yetzirah bigger. We make the Yetzirah bigger, so that's why it's called the Yetzirah, because it's formation, it's information. Person can make his Yetzirah smaller. You focus on good things, keep away from the bad things, focus on the good things, you make your Yetzirah tov, good, better. Penny, how do we get more movies out up on the Torah? Let's focus on something positive, see it? More Torah in the world. Look, he's putting Torah in the world. People are watching, people are there. It's Torah in the world. It's Torah in the world. The more light there is in the world, the less darkness. Why? Because people have now other things to focus on. They're focusing on light instead of darkness. It's amazing. The more good things on the internet, even better. Why? Because people have less garbage to it. You're taking up bandwidth. The more bandwidth you take. You know, debate with someone. Missionary comes to your house and wants to give you pamphlets. Do you take them or not?
As many as you can.
I said take as many as you can, yeah. Because the less he has to other people. On the other hand, they told me, they told me about who's the guy who... Untanat Tokef. Untanat Tokef. Who was it?
Rav Amnon of Mines.
Amnon of Mines.
Yeah.
And what happened? He said, he told the bishop, what is it, bishop or the king, whatever.
Or the bishop.
He said, give me 3 days to think about it. And he regretted saying that. In other words, you can't even show that you're interested. So they said, okay, I told him, listen, number one, that was in public. Everyone saw him, everyone's witnessing, so people think he's interested. He made a chilul Hashem. Number two is, he's not depriving others of the temptation by saying that. So therefore he had to punish himself. It's terrible punishment. He tortured himself. So I'm not going to go there. There's a different situation. I'd say take as many as you can, grab them and throw them in the garbage as soon as possible. Or burn them even better. Well, burning, you don't destroy the atmosphere. So, but garbage, throw in the garbage. Shred it. There you go. Shred it. Use it as manure. So it's good. Take as many as you can. The less trouble for other people. The more light you take, and the more light you spread, the less darkness there is. Take away the darkness, put the light. That's the Jewish emphasis. More light in the world. More light in the world. So more Yetzirah Tov in the world, the better. More thought and focus on good, the better for us. A person focuses on good, so a person, what's their focus? A person going to think, how much time do I focus on good? How much time do I focus on bad? What am I thinking about all day long? That's very important. That's where the Vilna Gaon says, you are. Actually, Rambam says that. You are where your head is. You are where your thoughts are. Your thoughts are in good. You're thinking about good. You're in a good place right now. Person says, you know what, my thoughts, I'm in the beach over there. Well, I don't want to go there now because it's all destroyed by the hurricane, but even the beach got destroyed. Terrible. Maybe there's a moral lesson for us over there. But I know someone who's down in Spain, he's enjoying life on the beach, that's good. 75 degrees, he told me. It's good. But that's, where's your head? That's where you are, Rambam says. If your head is in a good place, you're in a good place. The person thinking Torah thoughts, you're in the best place. The person thinking about Gan Eden, even better. We should really think. You know, it says, yesterday in La Parasha, it says, Hasket u'Shma Yisrael. What's Hasket? Hasket u'Shma Yisrael. Look and hear Israel. What's look? So I saw a parish, I can't remember whose parish it was. It says, imagine. Try and imagine good things. Try and imagine Har Sinai. Try and imagine the Jews getting the Torah. Wow. Try and imagine the Jews coming out of Mitzrayim. Try and imagine these things and relive them. It'll increase your emunah. It'll increase your Yetzirah Tov. Try and imagine good things and you'll increase your Yetzirah Tov. That's why it's so good to see the rabbis talking, the old rabbis, see the good pictures of the... Why? Because you want to imagine the Vilna Gaon. You want to imagine the Chavetz Chaim alive and talking and seeing. And why? Because this helps your Yetzirah Tov to increase. So just imagining all these, just imagine thinking about Moshe Rabbeinu coming down Har Sinai and Yeshua waiting 40 days and 40 nights just for that walk down the mountain. Imagine this. These are things which improve us. So the imagination. So again, the Yetzirah Tov are in process. They work in the process. That's why the word is Yetzer. It's a work in process. How do we change the Yetzirah? By our imaginations, by our thoughts. They make the Yetzirah bigger or smaller. Wait, by your thinking. How do you change the Yetzirah Tov? By your imagination, what you want, what you desire. That's where your thoughts are. That's how you increase them. Amazing. So the Yetzirah is ready for survival, but we misuse it. We all need to survive. It's very good. You can survive. Okay. Let's move on a little bit. The Arizal says the Yetzirah Tov is the klipa of the Yetzirah. Sorry, the Yetzirah is a klipa of the Yetzirah Tov. So you have the Yetzirah Tov inside, and you have the Yetzirah is the shell around it. The shell around it, like the peel of the fruit. The Yetzirah, which is the urges to satisfy one's body and to self-preservation, is the protector of the Yetzirah Tov. If your body is not alive, you don't have a Yetzirah Tov. There's nothing. You have nothing. So the protector, it's like the mentioned. You have a fruit. The peel of the apple is protecting the apple. What happens when you peel an apple and you leave it overnight? It's going to turn brown. It's going to get oxidized. It's going to turn. It's going to get ferrous oxide. It's rust. It turns into rusty, and then it's going to get moldy, and then it's get this, and then it's finished. So the peel protects the fruit. The Yetzirah is like the peel around the Yetzirah Tov. Wow, what an amazing concept! The Yetzirah protects the fruit. Only trouble is, it can eat up the fruit as well. Protects the fruit is fine. That's good. That's where it should be. That's the product. That's what the Yetzirah should do. That's the job of the Yetzirah. The job of the Yetzirah is to keep a person alive, protect the fruit. But when it takes over, it's eating the fruit as well. It's going to eat your neshama up. It's going to suck everything up. That's what. So a person into their pleasures, and that's all they think about all day. It's just the Yetzirah is going to absorb everything, going to eat them up, swallow them alive, like Eliezer ben Dordia. Nearly got swallowed up by his Yetzirah. So it's interesting. The peel of the fruit, the Yetzirah urges the urges of the body exist to serve the Yetzirah Tov, to protect it. Amazing Arizal. It's like a klippa. Everything's klippa. All the bad in the world are klippot. But without the klippa, the thing doesn't work. The system doesn't work without klippa. That's the trouble. Everything needs a shell, a barrier to protect it. Only trouble is the barrier is not just protecting it; it's also sucking from it. But again, you need that barrier. But the barrier itself is a parasite. Because the barrier serves no purpose by itself, except it does serve a purpose to protect.
What is it protecting it from? Is the negativity
it's keeping it alive. In other words, without the Yetzirah Hara, as we see, the Gemara says that, without the Yetzirah, no, society would not survive. No society. Humanity would not survive. So with the Yetzirah will help and strengthen the Yetzirah Tov, that's fine, that's beautiful. When the Yetzirah takes over as the boss, that's the problem. So that's why the Yetzer Hara is compared to a wild horse. And the job of the person is to ride that wild horse, to tame the wild horse and use the wild horse for his own means, mechanism. Okay, so let's go into a bigger picture. So we have the humanity, the human being, the body. Think about the body. Inside the body there's a nefesh. The nefesh is the soul that keeps the body alive. The basic, what's it called? Basic life source, the nefesh. So the body, which is symbolized by blood, inside there's a nefesh. Ki adam hu nefesh. Right? The Torah says, Ki adam hu nefesh. A person is not allowed to have the last ounce of 3 ounces of blood in which the soul rests. The last 3 ounces of blood that causes a person to die, that's where the soul rests. The soul comes out with that, but nefesh comes out with that. The lowest level of the soul comes out with the blood. So the blood, which is the body, and the nefesh inside there, and inside that is the klipa of the Yetzer Hara. Inside the nefesh over there. And inside that is the Yetzer Tov, and inside that is the neshama. So the neshama is the purest part of the soul is in the middle. It's surrounded by the Yetzer Tov. And then it's surrounded by the Yetzer Hara, and it's surrounded by the nefesh, and it's surrounded by the body. So the Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hashem, why did Hashem create the Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov? He created them to help us. The Yetzer Hara is fantastic. Why? It helps us to stay alive. The Yetzer Tov is fantastic, makes us a bit more spiritual. Only trouble is when the system is not balanced, that's when things go haywire. That's why the Rambam says always stay in the middle. Just try and balance the system, because like you're walking around the, you know how the guy with the tightrope, they walk around the tightrope, but they have a stick in the hand. You see the tightrope walkers? Why do they have the stick? So sometimes they lean on, they put the stick on the left, and they feel they're going to the left, they go to, like a motorbike, right? Also when you're going around the corner, you've got to swerve the other way. You bend into the corner.
Countersteer.
Yeah, because it's you got the centrifugal force, you got the centripetal force, different forces. Same thing with the Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Tov. You got to balance the Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov. It's a hard work. It's like a fiddle on the roof. It's like you're balancing on the roof. You're walking on the roof, and then on the top of the roof, and you're walking down, and you're going to fall off. So you got to balance. It's like the same thing. Hashem, a little step in the wrong direction, a person can fall tremendously. A little step in the right direction, a person can climb. I call it chutes and ladders. Life is chutes and ladders. You're going up the ladder, and then all of a sudden you come up, you say, wow, I'm a tzaddik, I'm an angel, I'm half an angel. The next day, crash. Hashem says, you're an angel, I'll show you you're an angel. I'll show you what kind of angel you are. It's terrible. But you should never be confident. Al tamin be'atzmecha ad yom motcha, the Gemara, Pirkei Avot, right? But should not believe in themselves until the day of their death. And even the day of death, you shouldn't believe in yourself. You know what a person's going to do on the day of death. The day of death is probably the most important day in our lives. It's really ironic, right? Because everything is fixed by the end. Person does Yeshuva on the day of the death, praise the day, praise the portion of the world. Person says, I blame God for my life, I hate God, he just ruined everything, he just destroyed himself. It's horrible. It's so important, it's critical to finish off with a good bang, on the right note. And it's so hard to do it sometimes, the person's suffering sometimes. I say, why me? Why me, Hashem? Why me? It's not right. Why do you do this to me? I hate you because you hurt me and you caused my life. Can you imagine? Or a person says, you know, Hashem, thank you so much for my life. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. I do teshuvah before I go. My bitati kaparati. My death should be my atonement. It's so hard. We have practice every day. We say Shema every day. We're practicing this. We have to do it because the most important time in a person's life. As salt preserves meat, the Yetzer Hara preserves and cares for the living organism. Hard to imagine, right? The Yetzer Hara is keeping us alive. The Yetzer Hara looks after us. The Yetzer Hara wants us to survive. Physically, he wants us to survive. Doesn't think about spirituality. That's not the Yetzer Hara's job. The Yetzer Hara's job is to focus on the physical. Focus. Are you surviving? Are you thriving? That's good. The Yetzer Hara's happy. I want you to thrive. Then the Yetzer Hara says, but then you build up your Yetzer Hara. I say, hey, but I can thrive even more if I do this. And I thrive even more if I do this. I enjoy myself even more if I do this. You build up your Yetzer Hara. You're making Yetzer Hara even more now. And that's the power of the imagination. Imagination is the worst thing we have. It's the best and the worst thing. As we say, Hasket Ushma Yisrael. Imagine good things. Imagine good sights. Imagine Matan Torah. Imagine Moshe Rabbeinu. Imagine Abraham Avinu. Imagine the angels going to Abraham. Oh, I wish we could see that. Imagine Yosef in Mitzrayim being a tzaddik. How do you do that? How do you cope? You're thrown in a pit. You're thrown into your Potiphar's licentious house with his wife. With a bear, she's like a bear, she's after him all the time. Then you throw it into another pit. And then how do you survive? And then you're in Pharaoh's palace and you're the viceroy of Egypt and you can do whatever you want and you're Sadiq. Imagine it. How do you imagine that? Those are the imaginations we have to have. So just like a wild horse, the Yitzhak has to be controlled. And that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, a person only sins the spirit of foolishness, the Gemara says in Sotah Daf Gimel. If a spirit of foolishness takes hold, which means, what does foolishness means? The Yitzhak gets out of control. The Yitzhak is narcissistic. The person becomes, I want pleasure, I want pleasure, I want pleasure. Spirit of foolishness. So makes the dish which is edible now makes it poison. It's what pleasure. So people into pleasure. That's today's society is pleasure. Basic pleasure. What's it for me? I want it now. I want my pleasure now. It's so hard, boy. It's so hard not to have pleasure. It's so hard. It's so hard. And a person with health problems, then he's all of a sudden, pleasure, I can't have pleasure. It's affecting me. Listen, I can't eat this, and I can't eat that. So restrictions on my diet. It's so hard. It's hard to live like that. You have so many things over there. And I went to a wedding yesterday, just the smorgasbord. Wow. Anything you want. Listen, I know, this thing's going to hurt me, and this thing's going to hurt me. I can't eat it. This is going to hurt my stomach. It's going to kill me. Same thing in life. Life is a smorgasbord. Everything in life is a smorgasbord. What should I take from here? What should I take? So I was going to know, is this going to hurt me or not hurt me? It's hard to know spiritually what's going to hurt you. It's so hard to know. Okay. So it's interesting. The product of one's heart, the Yetzirah is connected with the thoughts and the imagery of the heart and mind. Both Yetzirahs use imagery to influence the thinking, the Chokhmah mind. The Yetzirah starts with fantasy and emotion. The Yetzirah Tov starts with intellect. So the fantasy and emotion, that's the Yetzirah. We're going to keep away from the fantasies. If you do this, you're going to win the lottery. You're going to win the lottery. You're going to do this. And look where the guys win the lottery. What happens to them? I don't know. Destroy. Self-destruction. Self-destruction. If there's no system, if there's no self-control, self-destruction. Self-destruction. So the main thing, that's what Judaism is telling us, structure. Judaism is a very structured religion. It's like you can wake up anytime you want. You've got to wake up at a certain time. You've got to do certain things. You've got to do certain things in order. Everything's very structured. The Shulchan Aruch is very detailed. You've got to do this. You've got to do this. In Shabbat, it's even more structured. It's Mein Olam Haba. Hey, 1 second. Why is the most structured Mein Olam Haba? Why is Olam Haba the most structured thing? And the answer is we have to understand. You think it's Olam Haba, there's no structure? It's more structure than here. That's the definition of Olam Haba. Mein Olam Haba is more structure, more rules, more this, more hierarchies in Olam Haba. Wow. Today there's no hierarchy over here. You can't see hierarchy. Everything, a free country, right? It's all money. Over there's a different hierarchy completely. It's a totally different hierarchy. What you did, what you did, what you didn't do, what you did do, and what fruits you gave, what ripples in the ripple tank you left behind. Tremendous hierarchy over there. Everything is meticulous. In God's world, everything is got a pigeonhole for something. God is an accountant. But he's more than an accountant. He's also a designer. He's an architect. He's this and that. He's totally organized. Hashem is the most organized. Everything's organized. In God's world, everything's organized. This world, nothing's organized. Higgledy-piggledy. This guy's a dictator. This guy's this. Everything's out of order, out of whack. Meshuggah is over all around you. Over there, everything's structured. It's like Shabbat. Shabbat, everything's structured. So he talks about the Arizal says the Rishut Rabbi in public domain is Yetzirah. The private domain is where we have to be. You can't carry from one domain to another. There's restrictions on domains. Symbolizing the difference between good and bad. There's a tremendous differentiation. Olam Haba, you can see the differentiation. Over here, you can't see differentiations. Everything looks good over here. Even the bad looks good. Okay, we have to stop here. We'll continue next week as a prelude to Rosh Hashanah. It's a big prelude.